Well, hello, internet friends near and far. Welcome to another episode of Parks and Conversation. This is an episode where we watch an episode of Parks and Recreation, and then we talk about it. I'm Jason. I'm joined all the way across town by the power of the internet by my friend Jeremy. Say hello, Jeremy.
Hey, Jason. How's it going, man?
Well, it's good. It is good. It's a beautiful day in the Northwest. The weather is cooler, but it is sunny. I'm a fan all around. How are you today?
Same. I mean, I'm powered by the lack of sun. And so when I woke up this morning to the fog, I felt good.
Do you still have fog right now?
No, it's gone now. So now I'm inside.
Yeah, okay.
Stay away. Stay away. I'm like a vampire from Forks.
Yeah. Well, that's good to stay away from. Speaking of Forks, we're going to have a Twilight reference later today.
Yeah.
So something to look forward to. I guess, I don't know. I've never seen any of those.
I haven't either.
I've never read the books. You'd think with all the Twilight references in this series, maybe I would have been curious about it at some point, but I wasn't.
You're not Twi curious?
No.
The thing about the Twilight things that I didn't understand was that I'm assuming he is like this really old vampire and he's just embroiled in this teen angst drama.
Right.
It's like, be better, man. You're like, I'm assuming he's like some like 1,000-year-old vampire and he's hitting on like an 18-year-old. Like, come on, that is creepy. That is horror. And I think maybe that's what the movie's about. I don't know.
Yeah. The real horror. Yeah. Not the bloodshed and the murder.
No. And the werewolves. Right.
It's the 1,000-year-old vampire flirting with a high school student.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Pass.
Yeah, I just will pass on that every time. No, thank you.
I'm glad we got that out of the way first.
Yeah. So, Jeremy, what are we talking about for real though today? What episode?
Oh, I don't have the current number.
It's season 7, episode 9.
9. We only have 3 episodes left. I know. I say that every time. I just get a little. It's okay. We have the good things to look forward to. It's the primary.
Indeed, it is.
Which is a play on the word primary.
Right, because it's part of the nominating process to get a candidate to be a part of this whole exciting government experiment. So the primary is the candidate's spouse making pie to prove.
And typically a female.
Right.
Like the spouse being usually it's men that are running because in Pawnee.
Right. Well, just in so many places, not just Pawnee. Pawnee's not the only broken place in America. So usually the candidate's wife makes pie as a way of showing that they are approved to be married to somebody doing government. I don't know.
Your voice goes up there.
I really don't understand the purpose of something like this, but I know that these things do exist for real.
Okay.
And it's weird. Weird.
Do you like pie?
I love pie. My wife made a whole bunch of peach pie filling candy.
It's the time of year. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to some peach pie. Daddy wants pie. So how many times did I say this while she was making this peach pie filling? Many times. So
just walking around rubbing your belly.
Yeah. And then I was like, when are you going to get the apples? Because Daddy wants pie.
All the pies.
Yeah. She makes really good peach pie and apple pie. And then she had way too many peaches. And so then she just made canned peaches, which is excellent. They're in a jar, not a can. So the presidents of the United States of America lied to us. All of them. And the band. So anyway, sorry to get so political.
Yeah. Wow. Not especially during this episode.
I know. It brings out the worst in me as we are heading into a super fun political season anyway. It's great. Listener, if you're listening in the far distant future, we're recording this in the almost fall of 2023. So
hopefully things end up okay.
Yeah. I hope we still have a country in a year and a half, and we'll see. But,
hey, you know how we got email last week?
I do.
From the Gooch, or just Gooch?
Mm-hmm.
Which I think Gooch, wasn't that one of the characters from Raising Hope? That was the Hall and Oates, or what was What was Hall and Oates? Not the Hall and Oates. It's they play the, oh my gosh, the ukulele. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And her character was Gooch.
Garfunkel and Oates.
And Oates. That's right. Anyway, all that to say, I dropped off my child this morning at school, and somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, I've been listening to your podcast.
What?
And it is really funny. And
What?
I've never seen the show.
What?
But I think you guys are really funny."
Who?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's my daughter's 11-year-old friend who is related to you. It's your nephew. But at least I was just like, hey, we might be hitting a demographic we didn't even know about. In my head, I'm thinking,
funny.
Yeah, he just like this beeline towards like, "Hey, I've been listening to your podcast," and I was like, "Wow,
why?"
And I said, "Well, yeah." I was just like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And he's like, "Yeah, it's hilarious." I was like, "All right, cool."
That's so funny.
So.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, nephew, if you're listening to this, sorry for all of the cursing.
Yeah, stay in school.
Please.
Or else end up here.
Don't become a professional attempted podcaster.
Anyway.
That's so funny. That's going to be great next time I see him to ask him to write a review.
It's my uncle, but I've always wanted to say this.
Rate and review, bro. I emailed a podcast host a couple days ago because they were talking about humor in and church life and stuff, and so like that's part of my academic research as well. And so I was like, "Hey, this is great, thank you. I love having more of this stuff." And then he replied to me and say, "Hey, could you please review us?" I was like, "Oh, that's so annoying." Like,
yeah.
No, I won't.
Oh, that is, I just, seriously. But while you guys are thinking, while we're talking about it, if you guys don't mind rating and review and just tell your friends, tell us to do that, but only if it's good.
It seems like based on my Spotify numbers that I can look at, we have more people generally listening to this series than we did in the past.
Oh, wow.
Which it's exciting. And it's like, I don't know how that happened. And so if you are newer to the show, like the Gooch, like we just met Gooch last week and he's been working his way through, and it's probably going to be a few months or weeks before he gets to this episode. Hey, Gooch. But if you're newer, like we would love to know that you are here. So please send us an email, parksandconversation@gmail.com. And it'd be great to get to know some of the folks in the greater Parks community. But also, as we're coming to the end of this series, it might be good to like hear some of y'all's favorite parks and recreation moments. So
should we do like a wrap-up episode?
Yeah,
like
we should.
One extra. Okay.
Yeah, a very special Parks and Conversation.
Yeah.
And
like a post-mortem.
Yeah. And like Joey Lawrence will come in and we'll find out that he's been doing drugs, and Tony will be like, "Hey man, didn't you see how this messed up my life?" And then Blossom will be like, "Why are you fighting? Mom's dead." And then Dad, whatever he does. And then Six comes along. And
then somebody lets Punky Brewster out of the refrigerator.
Oh my gosh, that just still traumatizes me. That is, I think that episode of Punky Brewster is the most like PTSD inducing sitcom epised of all time.
Yeah,
it's got to be up there.
It was. I think it was scarier than when Webster went to Iraq. Like that. That's how. That.
Yes. Oh man. Anyway, none of this is the primary.
It's not, but it's fun. Okay, go. Let's do it.
So, Jeremy, we have 2.5 plot lines, essentially.
Yeah.
So we have Leslie and Ben working out the political campaign and the primary situation. We got April and Ron, who are on a impossible treasure hunt. And then we have a little sub story with Donna and Garry.
Right.
So, what do you think if we went to April and Ron, and then Don and Garry, and then Leslie and Ben?
Sure.
All right.
Sure. And real quick too, what were your initial thoughts about this episode?
I forgot that Brett and Harris were in
Yes.
this one,
Yeah.
which was so great. And so that was delightful. I love Chris Gethard. If you say that, Gethard, I don't know how to say his name. The men's right guy. He's so funny.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of funny stuff in it. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
What about you?
All the jokes there, but I felt like maybe Leslie and Ben's storyline wasn't quite as but it was a very sentimental episode. I felt like the ending of each of the stories was very it feels like they're starting to wrap things up a little bit. But I was for it because it is it's a sweet show. So
again, no Aziz.
Yes, and 2 in a row.
Yeah. So weird. All right, then let's jump into this thing. And April is meeting Ron at a very good building company. And she is telling him that she's got this new job where she's going to help people find cool work to do all over the world. And she's going to start in a couple months. And Ron is, he's proud of her. And he says, I'd hoped you'd choose a more dignified trade like masonry or logging.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's proud of her. But then April says that she's going to have to move to Washington. And you can see a little, like, this is the subtlety of Nick Offerman. Like, he's a good actor, but you can tell, like, he's upset by this.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons he's upset is because he asks her to return the spare key that he gave her when she was his assistant. And then that's the end of the conversation. And April's like, okay. And Ron's like, good talk. And they leave. And so April is kind of, you can tell she's like upset by this too, like, because Ron doesn't really know how to emote properly. And so she didn't get the reaction that she hoped for from Ron. But she did get a reaction that was Ron appropriate.
And I felt like she knew instantly that she didn't know where the key was. And so that worry was like, oh no.
Well, no, but the next time we see her though, she goes right to where it was.
Right.
But she forgot because they go back into the parks office, and under what was Andy's desk, she's pulling up a tile in the ground, the floor, and she has hidden a little box in there, and that was where the key was. And Andy thinks that she hid money in there, and he's like, "It's not money. I told you, it's Ron's key." And so she pops up the tile and pulls out the box, and inside there's a note and a movie ticket stub and 4 teeth. And the note says, if you are looking for Ron's key, I moved it and you'll never find it. Cordially, April.
It's very on brand with the 4 teeth, especially.
Yeah. So that 4 teeth thing, that was really gross. So your kids have lost their teeth?
Yeah.
And got new ones.
Right.
Did you keep those?
I'm not in charge of the teeth collection.
Did you guys do tooth fairy stuff?
We did for a while.
Now I know I have a young family members who may be listening, so I have to be careful about the veracity of the tooth fairy. But
then it kind of turned into a money grab situation at our house where people are like just pulling teeth to get money.
These Lego aren't going to pay for themselves.
It's right. It's an expensive habit. Yeah. Well, anyway, why?
Well, I was just wondering, did people who keep their kids' teeth, why? Why are you doing that?
To hold on to the youth.
Is that it?
Or to the old time, like, oh, you were so small. This is how big your teeth were.
Yeah, I don't know.
Also look at these pictures. Like that's better to look at.
Yeah, the pictures without the teeth, those are adorable.
Yeah.
But a box of loose teeth?
Not so much.
That's serial killer behavior.
Same teeth, same situation, different other end.
I have to write that down. That's a funny phrase. A box of loose teeth.
Did you guys keep your kids' teeth?
No,
I'm going to assume not.
no.
There's no tooth necklace.
No. That's gross. Because
Lock of hair.
They have no, never, and we may be the least sentimental family.
Well, I don't think it's about that. What if you need to like a ritual of some kind and you need like a lock of hair?
What if you're trying to pull them back from the multiverse?
Right. What do you have? What if you need
a genetic lock?
Yeah. What if Champion needs a scent? You know, you gotta have something.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to do that. But most of my kids, I have 2 kids. So most of them is all of them. They had different times where they had to have multiple teeth removed.
Yeah.
Because their mouth is messed up.
Right.
And that's my fault. My mouth also messed up. And so like we were getting so much teeth at once, like we didn't have a way to file it appropriately. So we were just like, forget this noise. And we never really invited the tooth fairy into our house.
Well, yeah, it's a vampire situation. Speaking of vampires, like you have to invite them in.
Right.
In order to, yeah.
I didn't want to be a tooth fairy familiar.
No.
So
it's a lifelong process.
Yeah. So I didn't want The Rock or Larry the Cable Guy to come to my house. So
was it The Rock or was it Vin Diesel? No, it was The Rock. Vin Diesel was the nanny. That's right.
Tooth Fairy movies.
No, it was The Rock.
Yeah, Tooth Fairy 2 is Larry the Cable Guy, and Tooth Fairy is The Rock.
Wow.
These movies were made 2 years apart from each other because they just couldn't wait. I'm sorry.
Teeth are going to fall out by themselves.
I am very focused today. It's probably all the Benadryl I took last night. So, so we just could never get on top of the archiving of teeth appropriately. But I had 6 teeth pulled at one time when I was a kid. And
how old were you?
I was like in 3rd or 4th grade. I was getting ready for braces because my teeth are too big for my tiny mouth.
Why don't you just get a mouth extension?
Just don't comment it if you see me like, oh yeah, your mouth is small.
What normal sized teeth you have for such a small mouth?
Yeah, if I was the big bad wolf.
What adequate teeth you have.
Are you missing a couple? Yeah. But so I was moving out of my parents' house, when I got my first place to live. And I was going through the stuff that my parents had kept. And I had a little plastic box with gauze in it in my room, like in one of the boxes.
Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah.
And it was my old teeth from that time. They took 6 teeth out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I was like, Mom, do you want these? And she's like, I didn't know we had them. It's like, okay.
I think it's one of those deals where it's like when you take your car to the mechanic and they take parts out, they give them back to you to prove that.
Right.
Like you might need these, but also just like we didn't rip you off.
This is what a power steering pump looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. Mm-hmm. What am I supposed to do with this? You can get $35 back if you take it someplace.
And there's a molar. Right?
Yeah, and some teeth. This is Jim's teeth.
Okay, we gotta.
Sorry,
it's fine.
I don't want to become a tooth fairy familiar. Sorry, I have to write these things down or I'm going to forget. A familiar. So April now has a box of teeth and a ticket and a note. And this was 8 years ago. And she's like, I have no idea what I did. And so Andy's solution is like, listen, we'll train Champion to sniff out Ron's keys. So just give me the key, give him the scent, and I'll go find you that key.
Perfect. That's a perfect plan.
This was like, she could tell like this was not a good idea to bring Andy along. So then she goes back to Ron to say, I hid the key and then I moved it to protect it. And I don't remember where. And Ron is like, kind of like suspicious. And he's like, I see. And she's like, and he's like, don't be mad. She hit it too good. And she left a string of clues. and Ron immediately is like, it's an impossible puzzle. And he gets up and grabs his go bag for problem solving and puzzle solving. And he's like, I love puzzles. And so he's so happy about all of this possibility. And so he's like, looks inside, he's like a minimal, unhelpful note. And these appear to be human teeth. And what is it? This Twilight New Moon. And April's like, it's a movie about werewolves and vampires and stuff, but I've never seen it. And Ron, who paid attention to a coworker, which is surprising, like Donna likes those things. Dollars to donuts. This points us her way. And so they go to solve the puzzle and go find Donna.
Dollars to donuts. What
That's
a great phrase.
expression. Yeah. I don't know if you're turning your dollars into donuts or you're following the dollars to the donuts.
Either way, there's donuts at the end.
Yeah. I had donuts yesterday.
Oh, where from?
Safeway. Not my best moment.
It's okay.
Please forgive me. I was feeling terrible and I went to go buy some Dayquil to see if I could get my face to stop leaking. And I was like, I'm gonna have donuts and coffee because this is where I'm at.
Right. Well, and it'll make the Dayquil taste go away.
That was not my motivation as much as I was like, I feel terrible. I'm gonna eat terrible. So anyway, so they go to the parks office, which Donna doesn't work at anymore. Like, I don't know why Donna, like, meet us at the parks office. You can meet Donna anywhere. She's a realtor. The thing I know about realtors is they're all over the place. So there's no reason to go here, except it sets up a story with Donna and Garry in a moment. And so Ron is talking to Donna and did you see this movie about vampires and such? And Donna tells the story like, yeah, I saw it with April and she was so hopped up on painkillers that I was able to convince her to see it with me. And so Ron is like, the teeth, they're yours. And then Donna's like, you were super out of it. You kept yelling Team Voldemort. And then we were kicked out. And Donna's like, I was furious. You only get to see the second Twilight film for the 7th time once, which is a lot of times to see that movie. So then Ron asks, you remember anything about the key or April doing anything unusual? And Donna's like, she did make a stop by the shoe shine stand before we left because she wanted to drop off something for Andy. She had a real bad crush on him. And Andy's like, oh, you got a crush on me? That's embarrassing. And everyone's like, we're married still.
Yeah, that's embarrassing for you.
And so Ron's like, to the shoe shine stand. So they take off. And then Donna sees Garry outside and goes out and it's like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I dropped my wedding ring down the grate. And then I was trying to get it out and I dropped my keys down there too. So I can't leave. And so Donna's like, can I stay and watch? And he's like, not at all. I'd appreciate the company as he's trying to like fish his belt down to get the...
Yeah, I don't know what the move is there. Was there a lot of gum at the end of it?
I don't know.
A house.
And then he drops the belt.
Yeah.
So let's keep going down the Donna and Garry train because it's a short ride.
Yeah.
And so they're sitting out there and I was like, wow, this is bringing some serious deja vu. How many times have you dropped your wedding ring or lost it? It's like too many times to count. It causes real trouble with Gail and she turns into a real grumpy goose. And she's like, she'd say, Garry, you'd lose your head if it wasn't screwed on tight. And then she makes me get fresh orange juice for the morning. And then she says, hey, Mr. Forgetful. I mean, those words, they rattle around here for hours.
This was such a great part too, because Garry has been subjected to such worse, like attention, like just behavior his way, but it doesn't matter because it didn't come from Gail. Like that, she is the most important person. So I thought this was kind of a nice moment. Like her minuscule, tiniest little, like, is way more devastating than when he bends over and farts and rips his pants at the same time. Like that's great. It's so great. It's so perfect for Garry.
Yeah. And because Garry has a great home life.
Yeah, right.
Every time we've seen Gail and the girls, like he's just loved and supported. And so it's one thing at work for him to get that kind of treatment and he's used to it. But at home, like what she's saying is not as mean. No, but it's from her.
Right.
And, one of the important things to remember is the people who are closest to us are the ones who can cut us the deepest.
Yeah.
Sheryl Crow told us the first cut is the deepest.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said, all I want to do is have some fun. So I don't know really where to go with that.
Just keep talking, with those small teeth and just or big teeth, whatever.
It's a big teeth, small mouth.
My bad.
So Yeah, so he drops another thing down. I think this is where actually, he takes the ring. He's like, I got this replacement ring, and he tries to put it in a breast pocket that doesn't exist. He
was
drops
great.
it, and it falls down into the grate. And Donna's like, I'm going to get some dinner. So later they're kind of reminiscing about the time he was mugged in the park, and he's like, "What were you trying to reach for?" He's like, "A burrito," and so they're laughing, and
which again, let's just talk about your mistakes.
Yeah. So but this time it's Donna and Jerry remembering Gary's mistakes, and Garry being able to laugh about him.
Right.
Whereas before everybody was laughing at Garry. And so this is not Donna being mean as much as it's like, man, you've done a lot, Donna, Garry. This is hard for me with Garry. Yeah. So Donna offers Garry a ride home, and he's like, I'm probably going to get an earful tonight when I get home. Gail might even call me the B word. Bozo.
Oof.
And I love Donna's reaction. Wow, we are very different people. So she takes him home. Next morning, Donna shows up with a bag of oranges. And a great sight
gag with the giant gallon-sized Ziploc bag of all of his stuff.
Yeah,
like
so his
multiple watches. It seems like
yeah, cell phone, keys,
credit card,
change. His wallet was down there. Like there was a lot of stuff. Heart medicine.
He's like, oh yeah, that's mine. That's mine. Yeah.
And then also got you these fresh oranges for you and Gail.
Oh.
And she's like, well, you're one of a kind, Garry. You big B word. And Garry is like, kind of like, whoa, you know how deeply the B word cuts to me. And she's like, buddy. And so it's just a good little
sweet
bow tie on the Donna and Garry relationship. It's wonderful. Wonderful. So back to the treasure hunt.
Mm-hmm.
They are looking for the shoe shine stand,
but it is gone, or maybe it was never there.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're in the hallway. I found it. And
I was stalling for you.
Yeah, thank you. And they
like a shoe shine stall.
Thank you.
Wow,
that was excellent. And so we come to find out they did a massive remodel apparently, and took a little alcove in a hallway and made it just a hallway. So thanks, finally, guys. Now we have less room. So they it's gone. It's probably in the basement, and so they go to the basement. And a great sight gag, as Ron says, to the basement. And April and Ron start going one way. Andy goes the other way, and then turns around and goes back the correct way. And who do we find in the basement? Jeremy, who's down there?
We see Harris and Brett.
Yes. And what are they up to?
They're up to squeezing Harris's head with a wood clamp, like an actual like wooden wood clamp.
A vice.
A vice, yeah. It's got the two twisty handles, and I'm sure that's probably exactly what it's called. And they want to squeeze his head until, just tight enough to make his eyes bulge out, but not so tight that he dies.
Right. And I love Andy's response. That's a fine line you're walking.
Yeah, I've been there. Oh yeah. Good job, guy. You keep it up.
Yeah. I think I just love those two characters so much. It makes me so sad.
Yeah.
Now, like knowing that Harris Whittles is dead, and he was so funny. So funny.
According to IMDb, it says 9 days later after this episode.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But this is the spin. I think we talked about this before. This is the spinoff we needed. This is Animal Control. Yeah. That whole secondary, like all of it. I know Andy Samberg was busy or got busy later, but just all of those really funny characters, but definitely based on Animal Control I would rather would have seen that than Ron's eventual spinoff, which could have been okay, the Parks one. But
I don't know, man.
Oh, you wanted the Ron one?
I wanted the Ron Building Company spinoff. I wanted those 3 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was talking about the one that they tried to do at the very end of the series. Because that was supposed to be my understanding.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's kind of like Schrute Farms.
Well, I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah. But
But,
Harris.
if we got this animal park or animal control spinoff, then maybe we would never have gotten Superstore with Garrett.
That's true.
So, and I don't know how I feel about him, being a person in a wheelchair. It's like there's actors in wheelchairs.
That's true.
But he's very funny in that show. So, anyway, so Ron is like, we're on a quest and we're not leaving until we get an answer. So where's the shoe shine thing from upstairs? And Brett says, hey, last week this real scary ghost came down here. He had black hair, but you could see through his skin. It's like, okay. It didn't like me, but that's just because I got the soul of a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, it said something about how it was worried Brett was going to mug it.
I got the soul of a Ghostbuster. So April's like, okay, so we're looking for a racist ghost with black hair who likes shoe shines. And Ron's like, I have the answer. The chase continues. And so they go, based on the editing of this episode, the next day to Councilman Milton, who we see sitting on the shoe shine stand, and his hair is dyed black. Mm-hmm. And you can see through his skin because he's very old. And Milton's like, I just wanted to remember the good old days when a shoe shine was 2 bits and there were no Mexicans in the music business. And as he's saying that, Andy is like repulsed.
Right.
It's like, oh,
what?
So, and Ron's like, if you don't mind, we just need to search this stand. And so April is looking around and she finds it and hands the note to Andy and says, hi, Andy, I hate people, but you are okay. It's weird. Woof, woof, April. And Andy's like, oh, you were so into me. That's hilarious. And Ron's like, that's it. It's a dead end. No more clues. And Ron's like, well, see me in my office. And Andy is like to April, who's very upset that Ron's upset. It's like, if it makes you feel any better, I had a big crush on you too. That does make me feel better. And he's like, oh, thank God. And they hug. And then Milton is like, get off my boat. Get off my boat. Such
a great understated joke.
Yeah.
These are the people making decisions for you.
Oh man, if it weren't just so true to life right now.
Exactly. Yep. Oh. Or anytime really. Just stop being so old.
Old stuff's terrible. Be new.
Be new. Be younger.
That episode where Tom is like, oh man, I'm going to die. It's like the old iTunes. Just be new. Oh man, I'm going to die. Ron and April back in Ron's office, and they're drinking some Lagavulin. And Ron is like, I change my house locks every 16 days. That key has been useless since the second Tuesday after I gave it to you. What matters is that I trust you as a person. I'm sorry you're going to leave the town for many reasons, not the least of which is that you created a puzzle that even I couldn't solve. And oh boy, do you love Andy. As he's holding up the note, woof, woof. It really is embarrassing. And then April's like, oh, I remember where it is. And so they go out to a park, and there's this big old tree, and they're digging, and they find it. And Ron's like, how did you remember? And she says, woof, woof, bark, and points at the tree. And Ron's like, why here? And it's like, because this tree reminds me of you. It's strong and quiet and always here when you need it, or whatever. So she's having this really intense emotional moment with Ron, and like always here when you need it, or whatever. So, and Ron has a talking head where he's like, I've always felt a certain kinship with April, and this is proof that I was correct. Not the nice thing she said about me, but the fact that I buried a large amount of gold under that same tree years ago. And then suspiciously looks at the camera. I have since moved it. Or have I? So, yeah. So that's Ron and April's plot line. And I think that is probably my favorite part of this whole episode.
Agreed.
The treasure hunt, but also just their friendship is just so awesome. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, we got a little bit of that with April and Leslie last week, and now with Ron, and yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. When you
Some
see
nice moments.
somebody who is cast, their role is to be the person who just doesn't care.
hmm
And then they come around to being like people who actually do care. That's pretty awesome. Very rarely do you have two people who don't care in the same episode or the same series who then turn into people who really do care. Even more rare are they from different generations. So you've got this like father son dynamic or father daughter dynamic with Ron and April, both of whom are aloof and don't care and think everything's a waste of time. But in the process, they become found family. So wonderful. So wonderful.
Sorry, that was really nice. Wow.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I just never really thought of it like that.
I think
So,
deeply about this show. So it's such a good show.
I mean, mostly because I just don't care, but whatever.
All right. We got one more thing to talk about here.
Just real quick, the main storyline.
Real quick, the A line. So Jennifer Barkley is with Leslie and Ben, and they're talking about getting ready, leading up to the primary. And
she is one of the greatest late additions to the show. I think she's so funny.
Yes, she's great. And every time she's in an episode, she may be one of the best parts.
Right.
So yeah, she's so good. So
like this scene here.
This scene is excellent. And so she's like, let's talk shop. And Leslie's like, ooh, I love shop talk. It's one of my favorite types of talk, along with pillow, girl, real, and Ted. But then Ben's like, why are you wearing a poncho? Because every surface area in your house is sticky. Last time I found a melted crayon on my blazer. Okay. And so Ben is talking about the Grizzle photo op tomorrow. They're going to be talking about the new building, the headquarters, all that stuff. And so they have a ton of stuff scheduled. So they're going to have to skip the pie baking event and the ceremonial squash toss. And that one line is like, if you're watching this episode for the first time, like the pie baking event, like Ben is just so dismissive of the whole thing, but it's the whole point of the episode,
right?
The pie baking event.
And they actually start talking more about the squash than the pie.
Right. Which is a great misdirection. So they love watching the squashes fly through the air. Ben likes the way they land. And Jen is like, okay, excuse me, but I have to go back to a city where things happen. So she's like, things are going to get going. It's going to get real intense. Leslie, are you ready? And Leslie's like, I've done this before. I can handle being a candidate's wife. I know the issues inside and out. And Jen is like, being the wife is a minefield. I just love how real it is right here. If you were a ding dong, I'd just slap a flag pin on you and pour some Valium down your throat and just shove you behind the podium way upstage. It's the smarties that freak people out. And Leslie's like, I think you're misunderestimating the voters. And Jen's like, I don't think that's possible. And so she's standing up to leave, and their kid is running through with a paint roller. Mm-hmm. And she's like, Steven, be careful. And the paint goes all across Jen's back. And so she stands up and turns around and yells, Poncho. So Jen is wise. So at the press conference, Ben is talking about how the Grizzle is going to make a whole new thing here. And a reporter says, your campaign release schedule, you're skipping the primary, care to explain? And then we have talking head with Leslie explaining this whole thing where candidates' wives face off to bake pie. And the last contest winner was the current congressperson, June Hartwell, the current congressperson's wife, and she won with a buttermilk meringue. The last contest loser was all women. And so the reporters are continuing. Leslie could be the first candidate to skip. Why are you skipping it? What kind of statement are you making? And Leslie's like, we're not making a statement. And then the guy from Eagleton, Mike Patterson, kind of hard, like shoves his way through to get to the front of the line. He's like, pardon me, excuse me.
Which is like two people.
Yeah. He's like he's making a scene.
Yeah.
And it's like, Leslie, you made it pretty clear you don't think homemaking is important. Do you ever cook for your children? And who's even watching your children right now while you're out God knows where? Leslie's response is like, I'm right in front of you. And Mike's like, oh, okay, take it easy. Let's not get emotional. And Ben's like, we got to go. Thanks for coming, everybody. We'll see you at the economic address. And as as they're leaving, Mike Patterson yells out again, like, what else are you against? Baseball, hugging your children? How much did the haircuts cost? And Leslie's like, none of your business. And thank you for noticing. And then cut back to a TV where the title card is up and it says, no, you're wrong, with Mike Patterson.
Wow. That is on the nose.
And so Mike's like, my guess is June Hartwell, the wife of incumbent Congressman Paul Hartwell. Now, June, we all know that Ben Wyatt's wife is really saying, by skipping the primary, she's saying women who love their families are stupid. And June is like, we all make choices. I chose to put my family first. Leslie's trying to have it all. And here we again see the state of the media so well portrayed by Mike Patterson. Oh, I'm just speculating here, but do you think that Leslie Knope's actions indicate that she actually hates her family?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, just quick PSA. Anytime they say, I'm not saying they're this way, just stop. That, like, the rest of it doesn't matter.
Yeah, this is no longer news. It is just Kardashians. So,
yes.
I mean, that's really all it is people want drama, and the orange man gives us drama.
Yeah.
So much drama. Do you want more drama? Here he comes.
Well, I'm done with drama, man. Can we?
This country. It's killing me.
I mean, I was like, even pumpkin spice latte season, I look forward to that more than any, like, at this point, and I don't even care about that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just done. I'm done with all the
drama.
The drama.
There's a comedian named Dustin Nickerson.
Mm-hmm.
We saw him when because we went to go see Nate Bargatze. He opened for Nate.
Yeah.
And I saw a clip of him on the Instagram yesterday where he was talking. He was in Green Bay and he's like, hey, I feel happy for all you. You don't have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback anymore. And I'm really happy for you. Cause I mean, I'm sure you all were exhausted by all the drama. And he's like, you know who your new guy is? Me neither. He's basically the Joe Biden of quarterbacks. Like, just do your job. Just be quiet.
Yeah, try not to screw it up too much. Just do what the coach tells you.
Yeah, it's going to be good. So anyway, football's back. It's back, baby.
Yeah, did you watch the game last night at all?
I watched the fourth quarter at a meeting, and I was surprised.
I mean, without Travis Kelce. Anyway.
Yes, people come here for our football analysis.
Hot sports takes.
They're microwaved sports takes at best. Yeah. So they're cold in the middle. But
and they're leftovers from other people's opinions, because I really have a lot of original ones.
My hot takes are leftovers. Jeremy, I'm going to steal that. I'm going to write that down.
But what if it's funny?
Well, then I'll test it out and then I'll give it to you.
You got to credit me.
Are leftovers. Footnote, Jeremy Schmidt. Microwaved. Well, I'm not really sure how they started, but this is how they ended up. This meal didn't start with mashed potatoes and anyway, I don't know how to. Anyway, I'll work it out. Yeah, so they're watching this show at Ben and Leslie's house, and so Jen's there with them. Or is Jen here? No, it's just Ben and Leslie watching this. And Leslie's like, well, it took 3 hours for Jen to be right. I'm officially a distraction. I'm going to go do the primary. And Ben's like, this is all nonsense. Just let it happen. But Leslie's like, no, the more they talk about this, the less they're going to talk about your plan for the economic plan. And, besides, if I win, I can publish my barbecue cookbook, The Feminine Mesquite, which I love that title. It's so good. So this show is like top pun. I don't know if there's ever going to be a better show with more puns.
Bob's Burgers would be my vote.
Yeah. That's the whole thing with Bob's Burgers.
Pretty much the whole, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not as well versed.
But this is a strong second.
So Leslie and next scene with them, they're putting the kids down for a nap. And snacks given, kids tucked in, books read, 3 simultaneous meltdowns for no reason, kids tucked back in. One of them briefly got outside somehow. Kids back in bed. They're all napping.
Good.
And so Ben has purchased everything that Leslie needs for pie. So they're going to get that going. But then there is a ringing doorbell. And Leslie's first reaction is, that might be one of the kids. But turns out it's Elise Yarkton from the Indiana Organization of Women. And Leslie's like, oh, did I finally win Women of the Year? I have a speech prepared. Would you like to see it right now? And she reaches back and she has the speech in her pocket because she's always ready. And Elise is like, Leslie, we're thrilled to find out that you were boycotting that ridiculous primary. But then we just got word that you decided to enter. And Leslie's like, yeah, it's dumb, but it's not about me. It's about Ben. And we want to do, he'll do more for women than Hartwell. So, win the battle, lose the battle, win the war, that kind of thing. And at least like, look, it's retrogressive and misogynistic. But we will have no choice but to protest you and Ben at the event. Hope you like pies in your face.
Wow.
Metaphorically, we'll be civil.
Shots fired.
And Elise is like, come on, Leslie's like, I'm the biggest defender for gender equality. And Ben is a progressive champion of women's rights. And then Ben comes around the corner, is like, babe, the oven's ready. Chop, chop. Time to get bacon. Daddy wants pie.
Chop,
and
chop.
He has never met Elise Yarkton before because he wasn't on the show back when Ron won the award.
Right.
And so he's like, hi, Ben Wyatt. So good. Daddy wants pie. And so then Ben and Leslie are talking and she's like, the IOW does not mess around. Which is normally why I love them. And then she's like, I gave $100. They're going to buy so many anti-me signs. And then Leslie's like, we're just back where we started. And so Ben's like, well, how about this? What if I register for the contest?
Oh.
I bake the pie. I act as my own wife. That line is funnier than it really has a right to be.
Right.
I act as my own wife. And I was like, oh, that could work. We sidestep controversy.
Nope.
The attention back onto the candidate. Flip the whole antiquated tradition on his head. And yeah. But more importantly, we changed the idea of what a pie is.
There you go. There you go. That's Ben right there. That's my boy.
And Leslie's like, I feel like that's not more important.
Wrong.
Okay, picture this. Crust on bottom, filling, crust on top. What am I describing?
A pie.
No, but you're in the right zone.
Oh. I just love her. Oh. It's like she knows. Oh. Yeah.
Calzone.
Oh, sure.
Pies are just sweet calzones, honey. And I'm good at making calzones.
You're amazing.
And then he gets off and starts singing Highway to the Calzone Zone. So dumb.
Just acting like he's on top of the world.
Yeah. So then they're at the primary, and
it's just isn't that just a big? At some point, it's just a big turnover, right?
Yes,
like an apple turnover.
Yeah, but in the he baked the calzone in a pie pan,
right?
Like a glass pie thing, and looking at it, it looked so gross.
Yeah, it's
so big.
so much crusty dough. I feel like it's all, you got to have the balance. You got to have the filling to crust ratio, right? Or else it just doesn't work.
I mean, really, the Hot Pocket company, for all of the maligning that Jim Gaffigan did for them, it was a good balance of crust to filling.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also hot lava on the edges and ice cold in the middle. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So they're at the primary with Ben's disgusting looking calzone. And she's like, did you hear back from Elise? He's like, oh yeah, we're good. The IOW is not going to protest us. How's your pie? He's like, I don't know. I didn't make a pie.
He's staying in character.
This interaction, as I was watching this, I was like, that sounds like Kurt.
Oh, I don't know. That's my dad, by the way. I don't know. I didn't make a pie.
Wrong?
You're not wrong. No. Semantics. Let's have fun with semantics. That'd make an excellent show. Fun with semantics.
Homophone. Bear. No, the other one. No. It's always the other one.
It's always the other one. Scent.
So they call up the next contestant, Ben Wyatt's wife, Leslie, And he comes up and he's like, it's actually Ms. Nope. And actually, right now, it's Mr. Wyatt. And Leslie's busy, has her whole excellent career. And I happen to make excellent pie. So we figured we'd switch it up a bit. Now pack your suitcases because we're going to a little town called Napoli in Italy. And then all of a sudden, there's this protest. People shouting,
Ben Wyatt.
Free Ben Wyatt. And Ben's like, excuse me, free me from what? And Kip Bunthart is the character's name, played by Chris Gethard. And he's like, from the tyranny of women, we are the male men. We are a men's right activist group, and we are fed up. And Leslie's like, what is happening? And Kip says, behind every successful woman is a man she has oppressed. First, Leslie Knope poaches her husband's campaign by making it all about her. And she's forcing him to bake pies and enter a contest for her. And I was like, I'm not forcing anybody to do anything. He loves to cook. He has 5 personalized aprons. Oh, so I guess he was asking for it because of how he was dressed. So it's so great. It's just so wonderful. And so then cut to Pawnee Today with Joan Calamezzo. And there's a whole panel of people on the show. And we start with Marcia and Marshall Langman. And Leslie's, she's saying, like, Leslie could learn a little something about traditional family structure from me and my husband, Marshall. And Marshall's like, fierce alert, eat him up, honey. And, Marshall is coded as a closeted gay man, right? Like that's how we're supposed to read this. And so Marcia,
as is the traditional family, like as traditional family structure dictates.
Right. And so Marcia is just full of deception and delusion. And so then we have Elise from IOW saying that the idea that feminism is an attack on family values is absurd. And so Joan's like, oh, so you're defending Leslie? He's like, no, absolutely not. Frankly, I don't think she's done enough to distance herself from this misogynistic lunacy. So then Joan turns to another person, Sasha Dunkirk, Women Against Feminism.
Best one yet.
And Kip then is like, ooh, what a surprise. The woman is only talking to other women. Could we have a conversation about feminism where men get to be in charge? And then Sasha, I actually agree with him. I don't need your pity. And then top it off, Brandy Max is there from such films as 69 Jump Street and 50 Shaved Old Gays. She's like, I have your back. And then cut to the living room of the Nope Wyatt household. And Jen Barker's there like, oof, you really stepped into this time, Nope. It's like, why isn't anybody else's candidate being scrutinized like this? And Jen is like, because June Hartwell is a lukewarm bowl of nothing. She started an awareness campaign called Bring a Sweater. It's called Goosebump Prevention.
I'm for it. That is a campaign I can get behind.
Yeah. So Jen is just like, go apologize, make it happen, make it easy. And they're like, apologize for what? And Jen's like, it doesn't matter. Just say you're sorry. It's like taking a shot of tequila. I have to do 3 shots every time I come into this house.
This makes everything more pleasant.
So they call another press conference to address whatever, basically, is what they're trying to do. And so Ben is like, before I give my vision for the economic future, my wife has a brief statement. And so Leslie gets up and starts talking about the weather. It's very temperate, which is great when you look back to the Bring a Sweater campaign. Mm-hmm. So she's trying to be June Hartwell. And then she's going down this road, but before she can do that, Ben actually cuts her off and he's like, hang on, stop. I'm sorry, this whole thing, it just makes me queasy. And he's like, I love my wife. She's independent and I will not let her speak. That came out wrong. The point is, Leslie's a great mom, public servant, all around person. And so he's tired of everybody complaining about how she's handling things or making the wrong choice. So it's like, say whatever you want. I couldn't care less about the political consequences. And so Leslie starts and she's like, I'm sorry that the spotlight's on me, not on Ben. Second, the mailman, where are you? And like scans the audience. Oh, there you are. You're ridiculous. And men's right is nothing.
True.
Which is true. And then third, I'm going to give you a permanent answer to all the silly questions. And so why did I change my hairstyle? Oh, I don't know. I just thought it would look better. Or my kid's got gum in it. Are you trying to have it all? That's a dumb question. Stop asking it. Do you miss your kids while you're at work? Yes, of course I do. Everybody does. And then sometimes, you don't.
And I love the cutaway to somebody in the audience is like, yeah, no, I get
true.
that. Yeah.
I actually do like going to work where my kids aren't. So, and then and Ben comes in, is like, and by the way, no one's ever asked me that question. No one asked me, where are your kids? Who's taking care of them? And then he looks at Leslie. Oh, by the way, who is taking care of them? So, and he's like, my mom, everything's fine. It's like, right. So maybe Leslie doesn't fit your idea of a candidate's wife. Who cares? Because there shouldn't be just one right way. And then Leslie's like, yeah, if you want to bake a pie, great. If you want to have a career, great too. Do both or neither. Doesn't matter. And so, we're all just trying to find the right path for us as individuals on this earth. Which that line, when she said on this earth, I was like, why did she say that? What other option is there? And so people start reacting, and they're like, I'd say that's about 50 boos and cheers. Yeah, seems about right. And then Kip shows up. Let Ben speak. Let Ben speak. It's like, he just spoke. Oh, I just got here. I had a broken bike chain. Yes, I love the way Kip has been personified for all of the pathetic dudes who think anything that's going not their way is some form of feminism coming at you. Like the Barbie movie is not an attack on you, Kip. So anyway, I loved the Barbie movie. Have you seen it yet?
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard
so good.
I've heard, either you really like it or people didn't like it.
Yeah, I loved it.
Wasn't a lot of in between. But I will watch it.
It's worth the time. The beginning is excellent, and the end of it is also excellent. The middle, still good. So, all right. So the credit scene then is Ben and Leslie at home, and Elise comes to the house, and Leslie's like, what did I do wrong? It's like, oh no, actually, we had the IOW, loved what you said in your speech. And I was like, really? Yeah. But what we loved even more was how Ben gave Leslie a platform in which to speak her mind. Congratulations, Ben Wyatt. You are this year's IOW Woman of the Year. And Leslie is pissed. So funny.
I think this joke is up there with, it's up there with, not as good, but with Barney. Like, they didn't beat this to death, which is good.
Right.
But just that she can't have that one thing.
Right. Yeah.
It Leslie keeps getting yanked out. Yeah.
Is the Barney in this situation.
It's great.
And the Woman of the Year is Ben every time.
Ron and Ben.
So, yeah. Like, Ben is like, it's kind of like how Ben just naturally, like, when he's out of work and he's trying to help Tom get started with Rent a Swag and he's being offered all these jobs. It's like, what is it that Ben has that people are like, yeah, you could be good.
It's the hair.
It's got to be.
It's definitely the hair.
Yeah.
And probably the button down and tie. That helps too.
Yeah. He's got his life together. Mainly because he gave his wife a platform to speak her mind. So you are the Woman of the Year. Oh man. So good. All right. Well, that's that. Season 7, episode 9. Daddy wants pie.
Daddy want pie. Next week is the Johnny Karate Super Awesome Musical Explosion Show.
Oh man, this is an episode to prepare for emotionally.
Yeah.
Every time. This one makes me very, very sad. So, because it's all coming to an end, friends. It's all coming to an end. Life is temporary.
And yet it's a flat circle.
Man. So we'll be back here in 7 circles.
7 star revolutions.
No.
Have you seen? No, I know. Revolutions around the star. No. Revolution.
That would be years.
7 orb
cycles
revolutions.
Rotation.
Have you seen Strange Planet? The Nathan Pyle, Dan Harmon show? It's on Apple.
Nope.
It's about the aliens, and yeah, check it out. It's pretty funny.
It's the cartoon thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like that guy's cartoons.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, check it out. That's all you can do.
Today I'm going to watch some Ingmar Bergman because I checked them out from the library. So I got to get those watched. So
somebody's got to watch them.
Yeah, that somebody's me.
Just return them, get the dust off. I'm sure that the librarian would appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll clean them real good.
What are you watching?
Well,
Seven Seal?
No, I've seen that. No, come on. That one's great. This is Through a Glass Darkly and Winter Light. So these are the ones that I have. So they're here in my office. So
well, have fun. Have fun with that.
Yeah, you have fun with all your stuff as well.
Okay.
And listener, you also have more fun than you can possibly imagine. That's my benediction for you.
Now go and like and subscribe.
Review, rate and review, ring that bell to stay. No, that's YouTube.
Do we have a bell? Just ring a bell. If you see a bell, just ring it.
Yeah. Like if you're in Philadelphia and there's that long line for people to go look at a bell, try ringing that thing.
Yeah. See what happens.
Maybe the Phillies will win the World Series.
Let us know.
Maybe. All right. Well, Jeremy, I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye.